Elder Counselor Rin stood on the balcony of the great tower and watched the night sky. The 3 moons of Velthari Prime cast silver light across the capital city of Thesara. Her forearms rested on the stone railing as she breathed the cool evening air. It was peaceful. It was home. Then she saw the lights dotted first. Rin thought they were shooting stars. Bright streaks falling through the darkness above. But shooting stars did not slow down. Shooting stars did not change direction. And shooting stars did not come in groups of hundreds. Her hearts began to beat faster. All 3 of them pounded against her chest as she watched the lights grow larger. They were ships. Many ships. And they were descending toward her world. Rin turned and ran inside. Her ceremonial robes flowed behind her as she rushed down the spiral stairs. Servants and guards looked at her with confusion. The Elder Counselor never ran. It was not proper behavior for the leader of the Velthari. People died. She did not care about proper behavior now. Rin reached the communication center and pushed through the door. Young technicians sat at their stations, monitoring the peaceful networks that connected their world to the Galactic Council. "Contact the orbital defense satellites," Rin ordered. Her voice shook, but she forced herself to speak clearly. Now, a technician named Oris turned to her with wide eyes. "Elder Counselor, what is happening?" "Ships, many ships. Coming down from the sky." Rin moved to the central display. "Show me what is in orbit." The display flickered to life. Rin felt her blood turn cold. Dozens of warships surrounded Velthari Prime. They were black and angular, covered in weapons and armor. She recognized the design from Council warning reports. The Kretox Dominion. Slavers. Killers. Monsters who operated outside galactic law and took what they wanted. "The defense satellites," Rin whispered. "Activate them." Oris worked his console with trembling hands. Then he looked up at her with terror in his eyes. "They are gone, Elder Counselor. All of them. Destroyed." Rin closed her eyes. The Velthari had no military. They had no weapons. They were healers and farmers and artists. They had trusted the Galactic Council to protect them. That was the agreement. That was the promise. "Send a message to the Council Emergency Fleet," she said. "Tell them we are under attack. Tell them we need help immediately." Oris sent the message. They waited. The seconds felt like hours. The response came as text on the screen. Rin read it and felt something die inside her. "Nearest patrol fleet is 47 standard hours away. Emergency response teams are currently deployed in Sector 9. Please shelter in place and await assistance." 47 hours. Her people would be dead or taken in 47 hours. Outside, Rin could hear the sounds beginning. Explosions in the distance. Screams rising from the lower city. The Kretox had landed, and they were already moving through the streets. She turned to Oris. "Broadcast on all frequencies. Every channel. Even the restricted ones." Oris hesitated. "The restricted Terran military channel? The Council told us never to use that. They said humans are dangerous. They said we should avoid contact with them at all costs." "The Council is not coming to save us," Rin said quietly. "Maybe no one will. But I will try everything before I let my people die without a fight." Oris nodded and opened all channels. Rin leaned toward the microphone. She did not know what to say. She did not have time to think of clever words or proper diplomatic language. She simply spoke the truth. "This is Velthari Prime. We are under attack by the Kretox Dominion. Our defenses are gone. Our protectors are not coming. We are farmers and healers. We have no weapons. We have no soldiers. We have children and elders and families who just want to live." She paused. The sounds of battle grew louder outside. Glass shattered somewhere in the tower below. "We are dying," Rin continued. Her voice cracked, but she kept speaking. Please. Anyone who can hear this, help us. We have no one else to ask. We have nothing to offer in return. We can only beg. Please. Someone, anyone, help us. She released the microphone and stepped back. The channel remained silent. No response came. No voice answered her desperate plea. Oris looked at her with tears running down his face. What do we do now, Elder Counselor? Rin straightened her back. If these were her final hours, she would spend them protecting her people, not crying in a tower. We evacuate the city. The ancient temples in the northern mountains have underground chambers. The Krethoks may not know about them. We save as many as we can. She walked toward the door, then stopped and looked back at the communication equipment. All those channels, all those species across the galaxy. And not one had answered. The humans. She thought about what the Council had told her about them. Deathworlders, they called them. Creatures from a planet so harsh that everything there had evolved to kill. The Council said humans were violent and unpredictable. They said humanity was a young species that had stumbled into galactic society and should be contained and watched. But Rin also remembered something else. Long ago, when she was a young healer, human refugees had come to Valkyrie Prime during something called the Exodus Crisis. Her people had helped them, given them food and medicine and shelter. The humans had been grateful. They had been kind. Maybe the Council was wrong about them. Maybe everyone was wrong about them. Or maybe no one was coming at all. Rin left the communication center and began organizing the evacuation. Behind her, the display showed Krethok's troops marching through the burning streets of the Sara. They moved in organized lines, breaking into homes and dragging people out. Some Valkyrie tried to run. They did not get far. The night grew darker. The fires grew brighter. And somewhere across the cold emptiness of space, the desperate message traveled outward on all frequencies, carrying the screams of a dying world to anyone who might listen. Rin did not know if anyone would answer, but she hoped. Against all logic and all evidence, she hoped. Because hope was all she had left. Captain Kevin Morris sat alone in the communication room of Outpost Whisper. The small base was hidden on a dead moon with no atmosphere and no life. It was cold and dark and forgotten. That was exactly why the Terran military had built it here. Kevin was running routine checks on the monitoring equipment when the signal came through. At first, he thought it was interference. Then he heard the voice, a female alien speaking in the common galactic language. Her words were simple and raw. She was begging, pleading, crying out for someone to save her people from death. Kevin listened to the entire message 3 times. His face remained calm, but something burned in his chest. He knew that feeling. Every Terran soldier knew it. It was the feeling you got when someone needed help, and you were able to give it. He stood and walked down the narrow corridor to the sleeping quarters. 4 doors lined the hallway. He knocked on each one. Team meeting. Communication room. Now. 5 minutes later, his entire unit sat around the small table. Lieutenant Amy Chun Rodriguez rubbed sleep from her eyes. Sergeant Danny Kowalski cracked his knuckles, already sensing something serious. Corporal Lisa Monroe leaned against the wall with her arms crossed. Technical Specialist Greg Patterson adjusted his glasses and waited. They were the 47th Special Operations Division. Other units called them the Ghosts. They did the jobs that never appeared in official reports. They went to places that humanity was not supposed to go. And when they finished their missions, they disappeared like shadows at sunrise. Kevin played the recording. The room went silent as the alien voice filled the air. The desperation was clear even through the translation. This was not a political message or a strategic request. This was a mother screaming for her children. This was the last cry of the hopeless. When the recording ended, Amy spoke first. Valkyrie Prime. I know that world. They helped us during the Exodus crisis. When humanity first entered galactic space and half the council wanted us dead, the Valkyrie gave our refugees shelter. I remember reading about that, Danny said. His voice was low and rough. Good people. Peaceful. No military at all. They rely completely on council protection. The council is not coming, Kevin said. Their response fleet is 2 days away. The Krethoks will be finished long before then. Lisa pushed off from the wall. How far is Valkyrie Prime from our position? Greg tapped on his portable computer. 3 systems. If we push the engines past safety limits, we could be there in about 6 hours. That is a big risk, Amy said. If the engines fail during faster-than-light travel, we would be scattered across a dozen light years. There is another problem, Kevin said. He looked at each member of his team. This is not an authorized mission. The Council has made it clear that they do not want humans involved in galactic affairs. If we go to Valkyrie Prime and anyone finds out, it could create a political disaster for Earth. Danny laughed. It was not a happy sound. The Council tells everyone that we are monsters. They say we are violent primitives who should stay in our corner of the galaxy and keep quiet. Maybe they are right. Maybe that is exactly what we should do. He paused and looked at the communication equipment. Or maybe we should show them what kind of monsters we really are. Kevin nodded slowly. I need to contact Central Command. This decision is too big for me to make alone. He opened a secure channel to Earth and waited. The encryption protocols took several minutes to establish a clear connection. Then a familiar face appeared on the screen. Admiral Ruth Patterson was an old soldier with gray hair and sharp eyes. She had fought in 3 wars before most of Kevin's team was born. She listened without interrupting as Kevin explained the situation. When he finished, she was quiet for a long moment. Captain Morris, you understand what you are asking me to authorize. If this goes wrong, I cannot protect you. I cannot protect any of you. Officially, this conversation never happened. Officially, your team is conducting routine patrol operations. I understand, Admiral. The Valkyrie helped us when we had nothing, Ruth said. When the whole galaxy wanted to let human refugees die in the cold of space, those 4 armed farmers opened their doors and shared their food. Some debts cannot be repaid with money or treaties. Some debts can only be repaid with blood. She leaned closer to the camera. Do what Terrans do, Captain, and come home alive. The screen went dark. Kevin turned to his team. You heard the Admiral. This is volunteer only. No one will be forced to go. Amy stood up. I did not join the Ghost to sit on a dead moon while innocent people die. I am going. Danny rose next. Those Krethoks think they can hurt the weak because no one will stop them. I want to show them how wrong they are. Lisa checked her weapon. I have been bored for 3 months. Let us go hunting. Greg closed his computer. Someone needs to keep you all alive. I suppose that job falls to me. Kevin felt something warm spread through his chest. Pride. Love. The bond that soldiers share when they are willing to die for each other without hesitation. Get your gear. We launch in 20 minutes. The team moved fast. They had trained for rapid deployment thousands of times. Within 15 minutes, they were aboard the Silent Promise, a small stealth corvette designed to be invisible to every sensor in the galaxy. Kevin took the pilot seat. Amy sat beside him. The others strapped in behind. Navigation is locked, Greg reported. Engines are ready. I should mention that pushing them this hard gives us a 12% chance of catastrophic failure. So we have an 88% chance of getting there alive, Kevin said. I have faced worse odds. He pushed the throttle forward. The stars stretched into lines of light. The Silent Promise vanished into the darkness between worlds, leaving no trace, No signal, no evidence that it had ever existed. Somewhere far away, a dying world waited, thought the ghosts were coming. The silent promise dropped out of faster-than-light travel high above Velthury Prime. The planet filled the viewport, beautiful and burning. Kevin could see the fires from orbit. Entire cities glowed orange against the dark surface. Smoke rose in thick columns that were visible even from space. Krethok's fleet is in high orbit, Greg reported. 12 warships. They are not expecting any resistance. Their formation is lazy and spread out. What about ground forces? Amy asked. Sensors show heavy concentration in the major cities. They are moving north, following the refugee trails. Estimate over 2,000 troops currently deployed. Kevin studied the tactical display. 2,000 enemy soldiers. 5 Terran operators. The math was not good. Find me a landing zone near the northern mountains, he said. Somewhere the Krethoks have not reached yet. Greg worked his console. There is an ancient temple complex about 50 kilometers from the main refugee column. Dense forest coverage. Good terrain for concealment. I am detecting Velthury life signs in underground chambers below the temple. That is our target. Take us in. The silent promise dove toward the planet, using the heat from the burning cities to mask its thermal signature. They entered the atmosphere at a steep angle, cutting through clouds of smoke and ash. The ride was rough, but the little ship held together. They landed in a small clearing surrounded by tall trees with silver leaves. The forest was quiet except for distant sounds of explosions and screaming. The war had not reached this place yet, but it would soon. Kevin opened the cargo bay and stepped onto alien soil. The air smelled like flowers and smoke. It was a strange combination that made his stomach turn. Deployment formation, he ordered. Danny, Lisa, take point. Amy, stay with me. Greg, monitor all Krethok's communications and warn us if any patrols get close. They move through the forest like shadows. No talking. No unnecessary noise. Just 5 humans gliding between the silver trees with practiced ease. They had done this 100 times on a dozen worlds. The only difference was the color of the leaves. After 20 minutes, Lisa raised her fist. Everyone stopped. Patrol ahead, she whispered through the communication system. 6 Krethoks. Moving toward the temple. Kevin looked through his scope. The Krethoks were ugly creatures. They had hard shells like insects, multiple limbs, and heads that seemed too small for their bodies. They carried heavy weapons and moved with the confidence of predators who had never met anything that could hurt them. Danny, Lisa, take them quietly. We cannot let them report our position. Danny and Lisa nodded and disappeared into the underbrush. Kevin watched through his scope as they approached the patrol from behind. The Krethoks never saw them coming. Never heard them. Never had time to understand what was happening. In less than 10 seconds, all 6 aliens lay dead on the forest floor. Not a single shot was fired. Not a single warning was sent. Clear, Lisa reported. Move the bodies out of sight and continue toward the temple. They reached the temple complex as the sun began to set. Ancient stone structures rose from the forest floor, covered in vines and moss. Beautiful carvings decorated the walls, showing the history of the Velthury people. Peaceful scenes of farming, healing, and celebration. Kevin found the entrance to the underground chambers. A heavy stone door had been pulled closed from the inside. He knocked gently and spoke in the common galactic language. We are here to help. We received your distress signal. We are not Krethoks. Silence. Then a voice from the other side, trembling with fear. Who are you? Which species? Kevin hesitated. He knew what the Velthury had been told about humans. The Council had spent years spreading fear about Terrans, telling every species that humanity was dangerous and violent and should be avoided. "We are Terran," he said simply. "We are human." A long pause. Kevin heard whispered conversation on the other side. Frightened voices debating whether to open the door or keep it sealed. Then the stone moved. It slid aside slowly, revealing a dark passage and the face of a Velthari female. She had 4 arms and large eyes that reflected the fading light. She wore ceremonial robes that were torn and dirty. Behind her, Kevin could see hundreds of huddled figures. Children, elders, families holding each other in the darkness. "I am Elder Counselor Rin," the female said. Her voice was steady, but her hands were shaking. "I sent the message. I did not think anyone would come." Kevin removed his helmet so she could see his face. Human eyes. Human skin. The face of a creature from a death world. "Elder Counselor, you called for help. We heard you." Rin stared at him with an expression he could not read. Fear, hope, confusion, all mixed together. "Why?" she asked. "The Council says humans care only for themselves. They say you are dangerous and primitive. They say you would never risk your lives for strangers." Amy stepped forward and removed her own helmet. "The Council says many things. Not all of them are true. But why would you come?" Rin pressed. "We have nothing to offer you. We cannot pay you. We cannot give you power or territory. Why would humans travel across the stars to die for people they have never met?" Kevin thought about the question. He thought about his training, his duty, his mission. But those were not the real answers. "Because you screamed," he said quietly. "And we remember what it is like when nobody comes." Rin was silent for a long moment. Then tears began to fall from her large eyes. She stepped aside and gestured for them to enter. "There are 312 survivors in these chambers. Mostly children and elderly. The Krethoks are hunting us. They will find this place eventually." Kevin nodded. "Then, we will make sure they regret it. Greg, start setting up defensive positions. Danny, Lisa, scout the perimeter. Amy, see if any of these people need medical attention." The team moved without hesitation. They had work to do. And the Krethoks had no idea what was coming for them. The battle had raged for 3 hours. Kevin and Danny had killed over 100 Krethoks in the forest, using every trick they knew. They struck from the shadows and vanished before the enemy could respond. They used the terrain, the darkness, and the fear that grew in alien hearts with every fallen soldier. But the Krethoks kept coming. There were too many of them. Kevin fell back to the temple with Danny beside him. Both men were exhausted. Both men were running low on ammunition. And both men knew that the end was coming. "How are we doing inside?" Kevin asked through the communication system. Amy's voice came back, strained but steady. "We stopped 4 breach attempts. Lisa took a hit to her arm, but she is still fighting. The civilians are scared but alive." "Danny?" Danny leaned against a stone pillar and reloaded his weapon. His face was covered in dirt and alien blood. "I have maybe 2 more magazines. After that, I switched to knives." Kevin looked at the forest. Krethok's troops were massing at the tree line, preparing for a final assault. He could see their shadows moving in the pre-dawn light. Hundreds of them. Maybe 1,000. He made a decision. "Greg, connect me to the silent promise. Open all frequencies. I want everyone to hear this." Greg worked his computer. "Channel open, Captain." Kevin activated his suit's emergency beacon and spoke clearly into the communication system. "This is Captain Kevin Morris, Terran 47th Special Operations Division. I am addressing the Krethoks forces currently attacking Velthari Prime. You are attacking civilians who are under Terran protection. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences. This is your only warning." The message broadcast across the planet and into space. Every Krethok soldier heard it. Commander Vex heard it. The Krethok's warships in orbit heard it, and somewhere far away, 3 Terran battlecruisers heard it too. Vex stared at his communication screen in disbelief. Terrans, humans, here, on this forgotten world at the edge of nowhere. It was impossible. The Council had promised that humans stay in their own territory. The Council had promised that humanity was contained. "Commander," his lieutenant said, "what are your orders?" Vex felt something he had not felt in decades of warfare. Fear. Real fear. He had heard stories about humans. Everyone in the galaxy had heard stories. Deathworlders. Persistence predators. Creatures who evolved on a planet that tried to kill them every day and survived anyway. But he had come too far to retreat now. He had too many soldiers. 5 humans could not defeat an army. "Attack," he ordered. "Kill them all." The Krethoks charged toward the temple. Kevin and Danny met them at the entrance. They fought side by side, back to back, 2 humans against a wave of alien soldiers. They fired until their weapons were empty. Then they fought with knives and fists and anything they could grab. Inside the temple, Amy and Lisa held the secondary defensive line. Krethoks broke through a side entrance and rushed toward the civilians. The 2 women stood between the aliens and the children, refusing to give ground. Lisa took another hit, this time to her leg. She fell to one knee but kept fighting. Amy dragged her back while firing her sidearm with the other hand. Danny went down. A Krethok's blade caught him across the chest. He collapsed against the wall, blood spreading across his uniform. A Velthari medic rushed to help him. Danny pushed her away. "Protect the children," he gasped. "I can wait." The medic ignored him. She pressed her 4 hands against his wound and began healing him with techniques her people had practiced for thousands of years. Kevin stood alone at the main entrance now. His weapon was empty. He had a knife in each hand. Krethok soldiers surrounded him, closing in for the kill. "You think you have won," Kevin said. His voice was calm, almost peaceful. "You have no idea what you have done." He activated his final communication. "Admiral Patterson. Protocol Whisper is failed. We held as long as we could. Bring the thunder." The sky split open. 3 massive Terran battlecruisers dropped out of faster-than-light travel directly above the battlefield. They were enormous ships, bristling with weapons, designed for one purpose: total war. The Terran flag flew on their hulls, a symbol that most of the galaxy had never seen in person. Admiral Ruth Patterson's voice broadcast across all frequencies. "Krethok's forces, you have 30 seconds to surrender unconditionally. Drop your weapons and kneel. This is not a negotiation. This is not a discussion. This is your only chance to live." The Krethok's fleet in orbit tried to run. They did not get far. The Terran battlecruisers opened fire with weapons that turned warships into dust. In less than a minute, the entire Krethok's fleet was destroyed. On the ground, Vex watched his orbital support vanish. He looked at the massive ships hovering above the battlefield. He looked at the single human soldier standing at the temple entrance, bloody and exhausted but still fighting. He dropped his weapon and knelt. His soldiers followed. The battle was over. Kevin collapsed as the tension finally released from his body. Amy caught him before he hit the ground. Medics from the Terran ships descended in shuttles, treating the wounded and securing the area. Rin walked through the chaos and found Kevin lying on a medical stretcher. Danny was beside him, alive but pale. Lisa sat nearby, getting her wounds treated. Amy stood guard over all of them. "You came," Rin said. 5 soldiers against an army. You knew you might die, and you came anyway." Kevin looked up at her with tired eyes. "We heard you scream. That was enough. The Council will be angry. They did not want humans involved in galactic affairs. The Council can deal with Admiral Patterson." "That is not my problem." Rin sat beside him. Her people were emerging from The temple, seeing the sun rise over a world that was still theirs. Children laughed. Parents cried with relief. Elders prayed to gods they were not sure existed. "Why do humans hide in the shadows?" she asked. "You could rule the galaxy. Your ships, your soldiers, your technology. No one could stop you." Kevin smiled. It was a genuine smile, though it carried the weight of 1,000 battles. Because power is not about ruling, Elder. Power is about protecting. We stay in the shadows so that when someone screams, we can answer. We do not want to conquer the galaxy. We want to make sure the galaxy has someone to call when everything goes wrong. Rin thought about his words. She thought about everything the Council had told her about humans. Dangerous, violent, primitive. They were wrong. Humans were guardians, protectors, shadows that kept the darkness at bay, and the galaxy would never see them the same way again. Commander Vex stood in the ruins of Desara and watched his troops load captured Velthri onto transport ships. The invasion was going perfectly. No resistance, no complications, just weak creatures who ran and screamed and begged for mercy. He loved this work. Lieutenant approached and saluted with 2 of its 4 arms. "Commander, we have lost contact with Patrol Unit 7. They were searching the northern forest near the old temple structures." Vex clicked his mandibles in annoyance. "Equipment failure. These soldiers cannot maintain their gear properly. Send another patrol to find them." "Yes, Commander." Vex returned his attention to the loading operations. The Velthri would make excellent slaves. Their 4 arms made them perfect for mining work. The Dominion would pay well for this cargo. He did not think about Patrol Unit 7 again. That was his first mistake. In the forest near the temple, Kevin and Danny moved through the darkness like ghosts. Night had fallen, and the humans owned the night. Their eyes were designed for low-light conditions. Their bodies were built for hunting in the dark. Evolution had made them perfect predators, and now they were hunting. A second Krethox patrol entered the forest. 8 soldiers this time, moving in tight formation with weapons ready. Someone had told them to be careful. Someone had sensed that something was wrong. It did not matter. Danny circled behind the patrol, while Kevin positioned himself on a small hill above their path. They communicated with hand signals, invisible in the shadows. When the patrol reached the designated spot, Kevin fired once. The lead Krethox dropped without a sound. Before the others could react, Danny was among them. He moved faster than their eyes could track, striking weak points in their armor, turning their own weapons against them. 15 seconds. 8 bodies. No alarms. 2 down, Kevin reported to the team. They will send more. Back at the temple, Greg had hacked into the Krethox communication network. He sat in a dark corner, his face lit by the glow of his portable computer, feeding false information into enemy channels. "Commander, this is Patrol Unit 12. We have found refugee trails leading east toward the river delta. Request permission to pursue." The fake message sent Krethox troops marching in the wrong direction, away from the real survivors. Every hour that passed was another hour the Velthri stayed alive. Amy and Lisa guarded the underground chambers. They had placed sensors at every entrance and prepared defensive positions at key choke points. If the Krethox found this place, they would pay for every step they took. Rin watched the human female soldiers work. She had never seen anything like them. They moved with quiet confidence. They spoke softly to the frightened children and helped the elderly find comfortable places to rest. These were not the monsters the Council had described. These were protectors. "Your people," Rin said to Amy. "The Council says you come from a death world. A planet so dangerous that everything there evolved to kill. Is this true?" Amy smiled. It was a tired smile, but warm. "Earth is not easy. The weather tries to kill us. The animals try to kill us. Even some of the plants try to kill us. We learned to survive. And somewhere along the way, we learned that the best way to survive is to protect each other. But we are not your people. We are strangers, aliens. You are people who need help. That is enough for us. A soft alarm beeped on Amy's wrist. She looked at the display, and her smile faded. We have company. 3 Krethoks approaching the eastern entrance. Lisa moved to position without a word. Amy gestured for Rin to stay back and protect the children. The 3 Krethok scouts came through the entrance fast, weapons sweeping the darkness. They were trained soldiers, alert and dangerous. But they had never fought humans before. Lisa hit the first one from the side, driving her combat knife through the gap in its armor. Amy engaged the second with her bare hands, using the alien's own weight against it, slamming it into the stone wall. The third raised its weapon to fire, but it never got the chance. Lisa threw her knife. The blade spun through the air and struck the alien's throat. It fell backward and did not move again. The whole fight lasted less than 5 seconds. Rin stared at the bodies with wide eyes. She had seen violence before, but never like this. Never so fast. Never so efficient. The council was right about one thing. Humans were dangerous. But they were dangerous in the service of protection, not destruction. Are you hurt? She asked the human soldiers. Amy wiped blood from her hands. We are fine. But they will send more when these scouts do not report back. In the forest, Kevin received a message from the Silent Promise. Greg had intercepted new orders from Commander Vex. He is sending the full ground force toward the temple, Greg reported. Over 2,000 troops. He knows something is wrong. He wants to crush whatever resistance we have. Kevin looked at Danny. They were 2 soldiers against an army. The math had not changed. Can we hold them? Not forever, but we can make them bleed. Kevin nodded. Then that is what we do. Make them pay for every meter. Make them afraid of the dark. Make them understand that they picked the wrong planet to attack. Danny grinned. It was not a friendly expression. Time to show these bugs what Deathworlders can do. They disappeared into the shadows as the first wave of Krethok's troops entered the forest. The night was about to become a nightmare, and somewhere above the planet, Commander Vex received reports that made no sense. Soldiers vanishing without trace. Patrols destroyed by enemies that moved like ghosts. Weapons fire from impossible angles. A lieutenant suggested that the attackers might be human. Vex laughed. Humans would never come to this forgotten corner of the galaxy. Humans stayed in their own space and kept quiet. The council had assured him of this. He was about to learn how wrong the council was.